নমস্কার, আমি ঈশা। আমাদের খবর দেখতে হলে সঙ্গে থাকুন, দেখতে থাকুন তকমা।
Thank you so much for joining us today. We've gathered here for the launch of POCO F7. And please allow me to welcome Mr. Sachin Dev, who's the Product Marketing Manager at POCO India.
The year 2025 has been an immense year for the brand POCO. We launched the X series, and which was followed up with a couple of C and M series launches. And this has helped us gain a lot of market share in the smartphone segment, especially in the online segment. Before I get into those details, I just wanted to share what are the brand pillars of POCO. So there are three clear brand pillars. Number one, it's the performance. So we want to be the no-nonsense performance brand out there. So when a user wants to have a performance-oriented phone, they should think about POCO. And when we are launching our products, we make sure that that is the case, starting from F1 till F6. And F7 is not any different. It is in the same direction. Number two, we want to be the number one Gen Z aspirational brand. So from many surveys that independent houses has done, you can see that the number one Gen Z brand is POCO. And all these have helped us improve in the market share. So if you look at from 2022 to 2024, this is the growth of the brand POCO. So in the year 23, the total volume grew by 90%, and the next year by 20%, making it from 2020 to 24, the jump is close to 110%. So now you might wonder why in 2024 it's 20%. So it's about the base. So in 2022, because of the COVID pandemic and all those economic crisis, the volume entire smartphone market volume were on the lower side. So 23 saw a greater jump in terms of percentage, but in terms of the absolute numbers, it is very similar, or it has grown from 23 to 24 as well.
দেশে বিদেশে নির্ভীকতায় সাহসে একটাই নাম প্রকাশে তকমা 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 জানুন, জানাতে থাকুন।
While 256 and 12512, so we wanted to make sure that here also in this RAM, regarding the RAM also, we don't take any chances. So there are other smartphones out there in the market that starts with 8 GB of RAM as the base variant, which makes the performance reduce a bit. So we have large battery. There is no other smartphones out there in the market which has a battery capacity beyond this. Now you might be wondering, when the battery capacity increases, there are chances that the phone might be bulkier. That is normally how it is, right? When you increase on something, especially the battery, the slimness goes for a toss. But because of the silicon carbon technology we have used on the POCO F7, the battery is not thick. It is very slim. It's just 7.98 mm in slim, and the weight is also very minimal or nominal. And I think after the briefing you can all experience the smartphone and you will be able to understand what I'm trying to say, because even with such a large battery, we haven't compromised on the thickness. We haven't made it massive battery. And I think another situation that we all of us and all the users come across is that when we go for trips or any function with our friends and family, some of them might not have charge. Generations of Android updates and 6 years of software and security updates. So if a user want to give it to his friend, family, that is also possible. And or if he or she wants to sell that phone off, it is they will be able to get a better resale value than they would be getting otherwise. Continuing on the software aspect, because the target audience that we are seeking are gamers, who are into gaming. So we have this feature called as the While Boost Optimization 4.0, which is suitable while gaming. What it essentially does is that it improves in 4 areas. It improves in the better graphics, better audio visual, and better touch. So which means that while gaming, everything will be much smoother and more attractive. And another common pain point that we hear from the consumers, and I think all of us would also face that if someone else is having a non-Android phone, especially an Apple phone, is that we are not able to send files to them, files, videos, images, and we are also not able to get files and videos from them. So this particular app solves that problem. This particular technology, which was because of the Xiaomi interconnectivity, now it is very easy to share files and other images to non-Android devices as well. Not just the smartphone, but also the Mac and the iPad. And yes, it's more than just sharing. The phone can link to Windows 2. So we can control our phone directly from the laptop screen. So which means that if somebody wants to have a larger experience, that is also possible. Now here is the summary of the performance aspect of the POCO F7. So we can see that we have the best-in-class processor, Snapdragon 8 Gen 4, that comes up with an AnTuTu score of almost close to 2.1 million, where other smartphones in this particular segment have much lower. It comes up with LPDDR5X RAM time and UFS 4.1, and yes, it has India's largest battery at 7550 mAh and 90 watt of hypercharge. And as I mentioned, it comes with 4 generations of Android update and 6 years of software and security updates. So moving on to the next section. So I think design. So if you look at any element, right, be it smartphone, be it cars, or be it any other thing, when we go to purchase, the design is very paramount or very important because it is the first attraction. So if the design is not good, nobody is going to look at it. So especially, and the target audience, the Gen Z users, they want to flaunt their phone. They just are not using it for themselves, but they want to make sure that when they are in the social circles, everybody notices them. So we wanted to make sure that we get it to the next level in terms of design. So we are coming up with 3 colors. One, a very unique cyber silver edition. It is very different from the normal smartphones we see out there in the market. It has a very futuristic design, which which also includes that neon flare deco. So you can see in the video that the camera module has 2 lines that makes it very fascinating or very fashionable. So it has a very futuristic design, the Cyber Silver Edition. And another common pain point that we heard from the consumers is that, especially in the previous generation, the back panel doesn't look premium. Right? So we have solved that. So earlier generations, there used to be plastic back panel, but this time, for the first time, we are giving a flagship glass back and also metal middle frame. So these 2 combinations makes the phone look much more premium. And I just wanted to point out one more thing, is that there are other smartphones in the market in this particular price segment that doesn't have a glass back, that don't have a metal frame. They just stop just above the camera. So I'm not naming any brand, but I think you would be aware of those brands who just talk about just the camera and avoid all these things. But we have made sure that in terms of design also, we have a glass back, and along with that there is a metal middle frame. And the bezel is also very small. It's just 1.9 mm, which means a much more immersive user experience. And it is going to have the biggest display ever on an F series smartphone, 6.83. So with all these features, and the users would be able to have a much more immersive experience. The second color is a white one, a classic white one, but there is also a difference in this. It's not a normal, just one kind of a monotone. So it has 2 different tones, one a glossy part and another one is a matte part. The third color is a black one, which also is very similar to the white one. There's a matte part to it and also a glossy part. So there are three colors. The Cyber Silver Edition, which is a very futuristic and very unique, something different than the normal smartphones out there, and a white and a black. And yeah, another common problem that we come across, especially in places in the eastern parts of our country and in the southern parts of our country, is during the monsoon, because when rain can happen anytime, right? So yesterday when we were coming to the hotel also, it was raining like anything. So to make sure that there is no problem in that particular regard, we are going to give IP68 and IP69 dust and water resistance. So it is much more than rain. So it was just a normal use case I was talking about. So it can even be dipped in fresh water for up to 30 minutes, and IP69 means it can even have water resistance from high pressure water jets. So these are the three colors. Once again, the Cyber Silver edition: white, black, and the display is going to be 1.5K in resolution and a refresh rate of 120 Hertz. Yeah, and yeah, this is another very interesting aspect. When you see these numbers of peak brightness value nits, you might be wondering that okay, why 3200 nits is that great? Because there are other smartphones who are giving 4500 nits of peak brightness. But the interesting point here is that that is local peak brightness. So when I say local peak brightness, it means that only 1% of the area would have that 4500 nits. The other parts will have say 1800 or 1400, the normal HBM value. But in this regard, the 3200 nits is for a 25% area, which means a larger area can have a higher brightness. What it means to the consumer is that even somebody is playing games under bright sunlight, somebody is watching under bright sunlight, those the visuals are going to be crystal clear, because the brightness area is having much larger area, 25%, rather than the normal 1% or 2% that we see in other smartphones. So now we talked about the durability, but in adding on to the durability aspect, we have 2x scratch resistance and 2 times drop resistance, thanks to the Corning Gorilla Glass 7i on both the front and back. Now, such a stunning smartphone with a lot of loaded features, especially in the performance aspect, mean the consumers would be using the phone for a larger duration. They might be playing games, watching something, or using any day-to-day task. And yes, we all understand that when we look at the smartphone for a longer duration, there are chances of eye fatigue. So to make sure that we reduce that aspect, we have 3 certifications from 2 Rainland that reduces the harmful low blue light, flicker free certified, and one more certification we have from the 2 Rainland, which means that even if the phone is being used for a larger duration, the fatigue would be on the lower side. And another common problem from the consumers is that when the hands are wet or greasy, the touch response is not on the higher side. To solve this problem, we have upgraded the wet touch display 2.0 technology. Yes, the design summary. We can see that 3 colors: the Cyber Silver edition, a black and a white. It comes with the top-notch IP68 and IP69 dust and water resistance, 2 times better drop and scratch resistance than the previous generation, thanks to the Corning Gorilla Glass 7i, 3200 nits of peak brightness, but for a larger area, 25% area of the screen, and 1.5K AMOLED display. Now, we talked about the performance, we talked about the design, and you might be wondering that okay, we might have compromised on the camera, but that's not the case. When you look at the rear camera specs, you'll be able to understand that that is also at par with the competition. So it comes up with a primary 50MP camera that has an OIS, and the sensor is also Sony IMX882. So there are other smartphones in the market that just talks about this sensor. They say that okay, we have the Sony IMX882 sensor and it is the best. They don't have anything on performance. They don't have a good processor, because without a good processor, all this imaging and things goes for a toss. A good processor is a heart of it, and it needs to be complemented by other features. So it comes up with a 50MP Sony IMX882 primary camera and an ultra-wide angle camera which is of 8 megapixel. So yes, what it means for the users if you have a Sony sensor, Sony IMX882 sensor, it is much more light sensitive, which means even in low light scenarios or in day scenarios, the pictures will be very clear. The wide angle camera, I think it's very self-explanatory. We'll be able to capture much more in the pictures, much more details, much more frames, much more people. And this feature is something very interesting, a motion capture, because I think especially in eastern part of the country where football is also very popular, right? So we want to capture things in action. So this particular feature would be able to do that, motion capture when the subject is in motion. Normally when we try to capture that, because the shutter speed is on the lower side, the pictures become blurry. So because of this feature in the UI, it will be very clear. Now there are much more camera features, so I'll just touch upon few of the features. One of my favorite scenarios is capturing portraits, because it gives a kind of storytelling. So if somebody wants to create a story through the pictures, I think portraits is the right way. So this particular smartphone F7 has two portrait modes. 1x if we want to take the full body portraits, and if it is about half portraits, we have the 2x mode. And I think the talk of the town, everybody is talking about this, AI features. So people say that we have this much number of AI features, we have this many number of AI features, but I think more importantly, it is about what it is providing to the end users, right? Whether the AI features that we are providing are rightly making any difference to the user's pain points. So this is one of the common scenarios that we come across, right? We might have some pictures from our old smartphones where the quality is not that great, or also I think we all would have done it. We might have captured the picture from the album, the physical album, because the quality of the physical album is deteriorating and we want to make sure that we preserve that memory. So to enhance all those images, enhance those pictures that were taken from low megapixel cameras, or the photos that are there in our album. So we have this AI beautify feature in the album option. So we just click on the edit, and then it will give us a better picture than the previous one. The next one is also a very common scenario that we come across, pictures having reflection, especially when we try to capture pictures where there is a glass back or a glass element around. So the reflection comes into action. So with just one tap, the reflection can be removed. So here is a summary of the camera. It comes up with Sony IMX882 sensor on the primary, 50 megapixels. Sorry, I'll just go back. Yeah, Sony IMX882 sensor, 50 megapixel OIS, and also I think another important thing which I didn't mention earlier is the aperture. So if you want to have a best image, it needs to be complemented by a good aperture value as well. Because f1.5 means that it has a larger lens opening, more light can be gathered in, and we'll be able to capture good pictures in both day and night scenarios. The ultra wide camera of 8 megapixel. And now the entire summary of the F7, it comes up with Snapdragon 8s Gen 4, LPDDR5X of RAM type, UFS 4.0. The Antutu score is close to 2.1 million, which is the leading in its price segment. Comes up with India's largest battery of 7550 mAh and 90 watt fast charge. And in terms of durability, we have the IP68, IP69 dust and water resistance. It comes up with 4 generations of Android updates and 6 years of software and security updates. And coming to the camera, the primary sensor is a Sony IMX882 with a 50 megapixel and aperture value of f/1.5.
ঢালাই হোক বা ভিত, এই সিমেন্টেরই হবে জিত। শহর থেকে গ্রাম নির্মাণে একটাই নাম, রাশমি সিমেন্ট। এবার নির্মাণ হবে সুপারহিট।
To communicate once again, the 12 256 GB variant will be available at a net effective price of 29,999. The 12 512 GB variant will be available at a net effective price of 31,999. And the sale starts on 1st July 12 noon exclusively on Flipkart. And there are a couple more exclusive offers for the first day. So we have 1 year of additional warranty. So the brand is giving in 1 year normal warranty, and on top of that, if a user purchases it on the very first day, they are going to get 1 more year of additional warranty. And number 2 is one-time screen replacement for a period of 1 year. So these two offers are exclusive for the very first day. Yeah.
There are more other brands. So why this POCO first of all? And the POCO has some very good features that you have already discussed in the video. So can you just brief us to us the audience?
Yeah, sure. So I think, as I already mentioned, one of the key features is the processor, the 8s Gen 4, which makes it have one of the best AnTuTu score in this particular price segment, almost close to 2.1 million. That is number one. And number two, it has India's largest battery, 7550 mAh. So the other smartphones out there in the market, they don't have that kind of a battery capacity. And when it comes to other features such as in design, so we have three colors, unique colors. One, yeah, you can see that it's a very unique, very different futuristic color, I would say. We are calling it as a cyber silver edition. And in design also we have durability features such as IP68, IP69. So I think everywhere we have taken care of. Number one in performance, very great in design, three colors with metal frame and glass back. So other smartphones in the market in this price range, they don't have anything like this. They don't have a glass back. Some of them have plastic back and they don't have metal frame as well. So we have
Kolkata people, before purchasing any new brand phone, so they first of all search the service store, EFA service location.
Yeah.
But at the service location, like Xiaomi is your partner,
Yeah.
so they will give the service to this type of POCO brand.
Yeah. So the locations, I have to see where exactly it is located, but we service through the Xiaomi service centers.
And
So
what is
from
your-
where can the customers can get this phone?
It's available in Flipkart.
So what is your good
Starting
name, sir?
1st of July, 12 noon the starts. So my name is
Are
Sachin
there
Sachin
any
Dev.
offers?
Yeah. I think as I already mentioned, there will be a cashback in the first days. There is a bank cashback we have associated with multiple banks. So the net effective price of the 12 to 56 GB variant will be close to 29,999. The net effective price of the 512 GB variant would be 31,999. And on the first day, we have two more exclusive offers. One is 1 year of additional warranty. Normally, the brand gives 1 year of warranty, and on top of that, we have one more year warranty. And number two is that 1 year screen replacement.